Hello, this is Victor. I'm here with a new battle report. Is another Age of Sigmar battle report, and this time my Stormcast Eternals will fight against Chaos Forces, mainly Chaos Demons of Khorne with some allies. So let's make a look first to the list. So from the Stormcast Eternals, I come with the Celestial Prime. It's going to be the first time I put him on the battlefield. Then I have the Lord Castellan and the Knight Heraldor, another new hero that I put on the battlefield. The Knight Venator, 5 Retributors with two Star Soul Maces, 6 Liberators with Prime, 5 Liberators with a Prime, 5 Judicators with a Prime, and bows and the special bow on the prime, and another unit of adjudicators the same, a prime, bows and the special bow on the prime, and then 4 prosecutors with javelins and the prime with the trident. From the chaos side we have a bloodthirster, the changeling, 10 blood letters, 3 blood crushers, 1 hell pit abomination, 1 soul grinder and 1 skull cannon. So as you can see, 3 monsters in a list. It's making the list quite short and quite little in numbers, but any of these monsters can really slaughter any unit quite easily. Let's go first to the deployment. So this is in front you see the deployment. We did an alternative deployment and we decided that we are going to play to annihilate each other. Not missions in the case, just try to kill each other or see we are going to count who killed more at the end of the battle. If the time is over, as we are playing in a shop, once the shop is closing we need to finalize the game. Here you see the deployment of the demons at the bottom of the picture, from right to left, Bloodthirster, Soul Grinder, and we have the 10 blood letters. The vortex, this thing there is the Hell Pit Abomination, the 5 blood rushers, a Skull Cannon, and the Changeling is hidden behind the ruins. In my side, so I have the bulk of my army facing the Soulgrinder, the Bloodthirster. So the monsters are faced by the Liberators, Retributors, and Judicators. But I decide to put in the opposite flank the Flyer units, so the Knight Venator and the Prosecutors, and the intention is try to hunt down the Changeling with this unit. They are fast, they deny the flash where is the Changeling, so they can have a good path to the Changeling. Here we have again another overview of the full battlefield and another overview of the battlefield. I forgot to mention my Celestial Prime will start from reserve. I will try to keep him at least 1 turn to be able to have +2 attacks on my Galmarath. And we go to the turn 1. We roll, I won the initiative, but I decide to give the initiative to the Chaos Army. And the intention is just to they were quite far. I don't think I was in range. I didn't want to move ahead. I was very happy in the positioning I am. I have more shooting than them in principle, so I wanted them to come to me. I was thinking they will come to me because they need to go into the close combat, so I will let them to get closer and then I can shoot easily to them. So here we see is still the line before moving. In the command phase they try to summon and 10 more blood letters. They need to roll a 6, and on top the changeling is next to a mystic terrain, so they only need a 5, but they miss, they fail the roll. Here we see that the changeling is just behind the ruins, you almost can see him, but he failed to summon. Here we have the changeling. And this is the view from my side, so ready to receive the demons. And as expected, in the movement phase, they start to moving forward. I like my terrain because one of the forests that I am is the one that is the dangerous terrain. So if you try to charge or run through the terrain or into the terrain, you have to roll a dice. With one, you die. So I think it was a good position because the monsters is only 1 minute or so. They have to do a roll, and if they are unlucky, they die. I think this terrain is too heavy. They should change the rules and maybe say that you receive 1 wound or something like that. Then we see that the block crushers are moving to the forest in the middle, and the hell pit and all the rest of the units will follow them. As I said, here we have, they were conservative with the Bloodthirster, they didn't move the maximum, they decided to, I think their plan is to make a first wave with the Bloodletters and the Soulbinder, and second wave and try to wipe me out with the Bloodthirster. The Bloodthirster is the one with the big axe. Here we see the shooting from their side did not a lot of damage. They missed with the Skull Cannon, and then they also missed with the Soul Grinder. I think they didn't manage to make a single wound to me in the shooting phase, so the demons make the first phase, no assaults. They finalize the first turn without any damage on the Stormcast Eternals. Here we see a close-up of the advancement of the demons. And we go into the turn 1 for the Stormcast. So we start with the common abilities. I use the lantern on the unit of liberators that is in front of the retributors in the forest at my right, because they are the ones that most likely will face the charge of the Soulbinder. So I want them to be more protected. And I will not move from my positioning. I think my positioning is great. I have a good shooting to the units I want, and I prefer to wait. I don't need to rush to go into close combat. I also give the same unit immune to battle shock. In the other flank, I advance with the flying units, with the prosecutors and the Knight Venator, try to see if I can take the changeling. I didn't have line of sight. These runes were really blocking the line of sight, so the only shooting I have will go into the Skull Cannon. And then in the shooting phase, I scrap some wounds on the Skull Cannon. I think 1 or 2 wounds maximum. 1 wound, I think, in that turn. And here, between the Knight Heraldor that used the horn to blast on the terrain, he did mortal wounds on the Hell Pit Abomination, on the Blood Crushers, and on the Bloodletters. So he started just softening these 3 units. And the shooting, I wanted to soften a little bit the Soul Grinder, at least to move 1 or 2 steps down, in order that he's not going to be that strong when he's assaulting to the Liberators. And with that, we go into the turn 2. Not assaults, just a little bit of shooting, pew pew, very little damage in the first turn. So we go to the turn 2, and I won again the initiative, and this time I decide to take the initiative. I think having another turn of shooting is a great opportunity. So again, in my command phase, I use the lantern on the same unit of Liberators, and I give them again immune to battle shock. I forgot to mention that my general, of course, is the Lord Castellan. I decided to use him as Lord Castellan as the Celestial Prime is quite an aggressive miniature and normally will be out of range to use the common abilities. So this is before I move. Here I remain mainly stationary. I just use again the ability of the Knight Heraldor to do more mortal wounds on the units that are in the forest in the middle. And yeah, the only unit that I really move more aggressively is the Lord Celestial. I decide in turn 2 to put him on the battlefield, 9 inches away from the Blood Crushers. And the same for the Prosecutors, I move them ahead. And the Knight Venator is just have line of sight with the Changeling. So the shooting of the Prosecutors was on the Skull Cannon. The Skull Cannon survived with only 1 wound. And then the Knight Venator tried to shoot on the Changeling, but he flopped, and yeah, and then the different shooting, I did some more wounds on the Hell Pit Abomination. I killed some one of the Blood Crushers and did wounds on the second Blood Crusher. So, and I did also some wounds on the Bloodletters. So I scattered wounds all over in the shooting phase, all over the different units. Yeah, here we have the shooting, but I really don't kill anything. I was expecting to kill at least the Skull Cannon, but I completely missed in that case. And this is just before the assault. And this time I decide to do two assaults. One is with the Celestial Prime on the Block Crushers, and the other one is with the Knight Venator on the Changeling. So the Celestial Prime managed to charge on the Block Crushers. I kill one of the Block Crushers and I leave another one, I think with only 1 or 2 wounds surviving. So he was engaged in combat for the next turn. The Knight Venator needs a 4 to make the assault, and I roll a 3, so he missed this assaulting the Changeling. What was a big miss because now the Changeling is surviving and we will be able to summon units if they want. So this is at the end of the turn 2 for the Stormcast Eternals, and we will go to the turn 2 for the Demons. Just before going to the turn 2 for the Demons, here we have the Celestial Prime fighting with the Block Crushers. And we go into the turn 2 for the Chaos. So, as expected, the Skull Cannon with the 1 wound remaining will try to shoot down the Knight Venator. They want to eliminate now. It was really a miss that I couldn't overload this flank. I was expecting more from these two units, from the Prosecutors and the Knight Venator. At least on the other flank, it seems more control. Here we have the other flank, and now the army of demons will move ahead, try to charge into the lines of the Stormcast Eternals. And here we have the shooting phase. In the shooting phase, they killed two Judicators. You see the unit at the bottom have only 3 Judicators surviving. This is all the damage, and the Skull Cannon killed the Knight Venator, as you can see in the picture that he was facing. So the shooting phase was quite successful this time for the demons. It was a big loss to losing the Venator there. And then they did the assault, as the Liberators were really boosted with the lantern and being in the forest, and the Soulbinder didn't manage to scratch a single wound on the Liberators. In return, I counterattack with the Retributors, because when he was assaulting the Liberators, he put also himself in range of the Liberators, and I did some wounds on the Soulbinder. I did not kill him, but now it's, I think, with only 5 wounds or something like that. So the Soulbinder is very damaged at this moment. Here we have another overview, and then the Celestial Prime killed very easily the last Block Crusher, and now is free in the next turn to assault if I have the initiative. So here we have another overview of at the end of the turn 2 of the demons. So the Block Crusher just was born and were killed, and the Soulbinder didn't manage to break the wall of Liberators. And in that flank, yeah, it was a big miss. The Skull Cannon is still alive, the Changeling is still alive, and I lost the Knight Venator, so the other flank is more under the control of the Chaos. And just an overview before we jump into the turn 3. And again, I won again the initiatives, and this time I set also to get the initiative. I think this was a crucial moment. I have the Celestial Prime in a very good position to do another assault and to see if I can really destroy the right flank, have the control there, and yeah, and let's see what happens. By the way, I forgot to mention in the turn 2, he missed again to summon anything. So in that turn, I decide this time to boost the Retributors with the Castellan, and I give them also immune to Battle Shock. I will leave the Retributors in combat with the Soulbinder, and I will retreat the Liberators from that combat. I also, and this time the Knight Heraldor did not have very clear objective. I will use the house to see if I can reach the Bloodthirsters. This is the point. The Heraldor looks very strong when you are in some distance, because you can use the terrain to really do some mortal wounds on different units, but once the combat and your units start being within the terrain with the enemy, then it's not that useful anymore. And I also move the Prosecutors to be able to charge the Changeling and to try to shoot down the skull cannon, and then in the shooting phase they kill the last wound from the skull cannon, so eliminating the skull cannon, and now the prosecutors can assault the changeling that is behind the ruins, sorry. And here is what I was explaining. The liberators went out of combat in the movement phase, and I will move the retributors into the combat. I also decide to advance with the other unit of liberators to engage with the bloodletters, and I will use the Lord Celestin to assault into the Hell Pit Abomination. And here we have the assault, and the liberators assault on the bloodletters, and the Celestin Prime assault on the Hell Pit Abomination. Here we have another picture before we start doing all the combats. There in the combat, I don't remember exactly the order, but I can tell you the combat between the changeling and the prosecutors was very disappointing. We did nothing, no wounds to the prosecutors, no wounds to the changeling. The Celestian Prime received here 6 wounds, so he was 2 wounds remaining because I did not attack first with him. But in return, he killed the Hell Pit Abomination. He did the last wounds on the Hell Pit Abomination, and the Hell Pit Abomination didn't came back. And here the retributors will kill the last wounds from the Soulbinder. So with using the mortal wounds of the Star Soul Mace, they just kill the Soulbinder, and the combat between the liberators and the bloodletters was just we get a stack, so they kill one liberator. I did not lose anything in the battle shock. They did a battle shock test and they recover some of the bloodletters. Here is a disappointing combat between the changeling and the prosecutors, and here is when the retributors kill the Stormbinder. The combat between the liberators and the bloodletters, and the kill of the Hell Pit Abomination. And this is the situation at the end of the turn 3 of the Stormcast Eternals. Is looking quite well. We really killed some important units. The Bloodthirster is still there, quite new, but I think I have a good control of the board at this moment. So with that, we go into the turn 3 for the Chaos. And the first thing they try to do is to summon another Bloodthirster. They don't have the miniature, they will use the same miniature of the Vortex they used before, and they were successful with the summon of the Bloodthirster, so we have now a new Bloodthirster on the battlefield. They deploy, you see he's measuring from the Celestian Prime, he deployed them 9 inches from the Celestian Prime and the Prosecutors. Here we have the Bloodthirster. It's not a Bloodthirster, but yeah, they didn't have a second miniature. And with that, they will go to the movement. And here we have also the movement plus the shooting. No shooting from the demons at this moment, from the Chaos. They killed the shooting units. So the Bloodthirster did what I was expecting. He moved 3 inches away from the Liberators and he assaulted on the Liberators. He killed 2 of the Liberators. But my Liberators did some wounds in return, no 1 or 2 maximum. But they get stuck in combat, so this is what I needed. I didn't lose the unit with the battle shock and all these type of things, so this was not bad. And yeah, I was saying, and the other combat between the Liberators and the Bloodletters, I almost killed the unit of Bloodletters, but they get stuck in combat, so nobody win this combat yet. Here we have the other overview, and he tried to assault with the Bloodthirster on the Celestian Prime. He needed a 9 and he did not roll a 9. So with that we were finishing the turn 3 for the Chaos. So the Bloodthirster engaged with the Liberators, the other Bloodthirster completely new on the other flank, and again the combat between the Prosecutors and the Changeling. We did not I did just 1 wound to the... I think between the 2 rounds we are now fighting. I did 1 wound to the Changeling and they did nothing to me, or we are still... So in total I will do 1 wound to the Changeling in all the combat, so it was quite disappointing. This really, Prosecutors with Javelins are not good in close combat. So, and then again I again, I won the initiative on the turn 4, and I decide to go first again. I want to kill one of these Blood Sisters from the battlefield. So remember, my prosecutors engage still with the changeling, no changes there, and yeah, my Celestial Prime with only 2 wounds, too close to the new Blood Sister, so I decide I will not engage this Blood Sister, I will try to move and try to solve the other one with the Celestial Prime and the Retributors. Here we have, I try to move away the Judicators, not to give a nice charge to the Blood Sister in case he's killing the units in combat. And here I again, the Celestial Prime, the Castellan use the Lantern on the Retributors and also give them immune to Battle Shock. And I decided to disengage the Liberators and use the ability of the Knight Heraldor to give the Liberators also the ability to retreat and charge in the same turn. So they will retreat and charge, and I will move the 2 units of Liberators and the Knight Heraldor in the combat with the Bloodletters to try to dish out these Bloodletters. Here we have the positioning, the shooting. I did some shooting on the new Blood Sister. I think I did 2 or 3 wounds on the new Blood Sister, and then I shoot the rest on the other Blood Sister that was in combat with the Liberators, dealing some more additional wounds to him. So this Blood Sister now is at half of the strength. I think he's on 7 wounds, something like that. And in the assault phase, the Celestial Prime arrive and kill the Blood Sister in just 1 stroke. So I didn't need the intervention of the Retributors. You see that I only have 4 Retributors is because I lost 1 charging through the forest. I roll a 1. And then there in the middle we have a big melee between the 2 units of Liberators, the Knight Heraldor and the Bloodletters. And that finished, as you can see here, so the Bloodletters were obliterated by the Stormcast Eternals. So now it's looking again very well for, as I was saying, looking very well for the Stormcast Eternals. I completely control this flank now, and he's controlling the other flank, so the battle is changing a little bit the positioning. And this is the overview before the demons have the turn 4. So we go into the turn 4 for the Chaos. As I said before, my prosecutors at this moment they only managed to make a wound on the changeling, so the changeling is quite new. So now we have a problem because this Blood Sister will go into support the changeling. But before of that, they try to summon 10 Bloodletters, and they succeed in summoning the 10 Bloodletters. So they are there in the forest, 9 inches away from the Liberators and the Knight Heraldor. So yeah, this was before they move. Again, no shooting from the Chaos side, so they after summoning they went directly to movement and to charge. The Blood Sister charged on the prosecutors. He did that. He killed them all except the Prosecutor Prime. My Prosecutor Prime managed to scratch another wound on the Changeling, so the Changeling is now with 3 wounds, but he's going to be damned. He has not any way to survive there. And the Bloodletters in the middle try to assault into my Liberators, but they failed. They couldn't roll the 9 inches that they need to assault. So we go into the turn 5, and most likely the last turn. The shop was closing at this moment. And the turn 5 was, I forgot to write it here, but was for Chaos, the Chaos gained the initiative. So again, this was the situation at the beginning of the turn 5. So they tried to summon a Soulgrinder, the one that was killed, and this time they failed in doing that. The Changeling failed, so they went into the movement and charged. As you see now, the Bloodletters have charged into the unit of Liberators, into the 2 units of Liberators and the Knight Heraldor, and then yeah, the Blood Sister just engage again. He was out of combat because he killed all the prosecutors that was close and ended up the combat 3 inches away, but he closed the gap again and he was ready to attack. So he attacked first with the bloodletters. He did not too much. I think he did just a one wound on one of the units of. No, he did one wound on the Knight Heraldor. Then I attacked with my Knight Venator. I think I did nothing to the changeling. At the end of this combat, the changeling was with 3 wounds remaining, and then I attacked back to the bloodletters, and I really he killed the Knight Venator, and I attacked back with the blood to the bloodletters, and I really killed them. I think only 3 bloodletters were surviving at the end of this turn. Here we see this is when the blood sister is killing the prosecutor prime. Another picture of this combat. Here we have a close-up of the combat between the bloodletters and the Stormcast Eternals. And this is how the combat finished. So you see that the bloodletters did not manage to do damage on the Stormcast Eternals. And yeah, finally this was the end of the battle. There was another turn 5, but we need to really finish the battle here. Anyway, if I have played the turn 5, I don't think the battle will change too much. The battle was knowing under my control. If I have played the turn 5, most likely the bloodletter had been killed. I just rolled to see how many mortal wounds the Lord Celestine can do on the changeling. I did not roll the 3 wounds remaining, so I just rolled 1 wound on the changeling. So at the end, if we had run the turn 5, I would have killed the bloodletters, and that's all. So with that, we end the game, and was another Stormcast victory against the Chaos. Very happy with that result. And that's all for this battle report. Please like if you have liked it, comment, and subscribe if you not subscribe it. As usual, I will thank you a lot for watching this video, and if you want to support my channel, I have a Patreon account, so you can support me in Patreon, and all the money collected in Patreon is dedicated to this channel. I do this channel for hobby, and I use the Patreon just to be able to do better videos and to be able to do more content into my channel. As usual, yeah, that's all. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you again later. Bye.